We love reminiscing about our proud history here in Phoenixville, built on steel and hard work. These two elements have forged together to create a strong community. The steel mill may have disappeared now, but a strong community has remained and has come together to make Phoenixville better than ever. With all this hard work, the town needed fuel to give it energy to excel, and one of the most famous fueling stations was the famous Vale Diner. Hi, I'm Lou Beccaria, and welcome to our new show called And Now You Know. The Vale Diner, named after the original owner's surname, Valerio, was built in 1948 by the Paramount Dining Car Company. Sadly, it served its last meal on February 24, 2008. Well, think about the stories that the walls could tell from those 60 years as a Phoenixville institution. Well, I recently had a conversation with Helen Jackson, a former Vale waitress with 35 years worth of those stories. Stay tuned for my interview with Helen after a word from our sponsor. Hello everyone, we're here at the Kimberton Conference Center Diner doing a simulation of the Vale Diner, which is the feature of our show today. And I have the pleasure of talking with Helen Jackson, who spent over 2 decades as a waitress at the Vale Diner. And she's going to grace us with some great memories of the diner, and it'll bring back a lot of nostalgia for a lot of you who yourself spent some time there eating at the Vale Diner. So Helen, welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. How are you?
So, tell us about some of your fondest memories. You have 2, 3, 4 of your fondest memories about working there as a waitress?
Oh, there's so many, so many. The first year we had a Christmas tree outside of the Vale Diner. They let us put one out, and we decorated it. And after the holidays, we took it down, and birds came out of the thing. Birds like you wouldn't believe. A customer put baby birds in it over the holidays to give it a little Christmas spirit. That was funny to see all the waitresses chasing the babies. That was a fond memory. And every day was an experience. Everybody that came in there.
Tell us about some of the people that were longtime patrons of the diner, their character, or some of the eccentricities that some people had, or did they always sit at the same place?
They did.
Okay.
They did. I had my low counter coffee guys and people that had to be at a counter. There are counter people. They don't like to sit at a table or a booth. And they did come in every day. And a diner is a place where it didn't matter if you were a doctor or a lawyer or a police officer. When you walked in those doors, everybody became one, a family. It was a family. Just like, we're taught when mothers bond with their babies, it's usually at feeding time. I bonded with everyone.
So it was a great leveling field for the community in a sense, because it didn't matter what your economic status was or your social status.
Absolutely.
Everybody was the same and talked among each other.
Yeah, it was.
Did you notice that people, would they order the same thing all the time or most of the time?
A lot. A lot of the regulars did. That way they didn't have to say much, especially if they were on their lunch hour and only have an hour. They'd come in, I'd have the stuff on the table, and they like that. They like that.
Could you run through your memory and give us the names of some of the people that maybe came there for years and years and years and almost became characters, if you will, of the Vale Diner?
That would be Frankie.
Well, tell us about Frankie.
Frankie was 11 when they brought the diner in and put it down. He was on his bike watching it. He was on his bike watching it being taken away. And he came every day. He was a little, mentally challenged, but he knew that he was welcome there. It was his home. Everyone loved Frankie. They even did a special segment when the diner was closing on Frankie.
Really?
Yeah, it was very touching, very nice.
So it was very interesting. He was there at the very beginning and at the end.
And at the end.
And that was a lot of years. So the Vale Diner, I understand, started around 1948?
1948, Thanksgiving.
And 2008 is when it closed. So
February 24th.
that's, what, 60 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Frankie was there that whole 60 years?
Yes, he was.
How about that?
Yeah. And then Mr. Stevens, the bankers, and all the business people downtown would start their day out there. You know, Ken from
Overstreet?
Heidi Sue's.
Mr. Overstreet?
Yeah, he probably had a special friendship with the Fiolio brothers. I think they were all very close.
I understand he used to
He came in for lunch.
used it as his office in a sense.
Well, he was a very good tipper, I want to tell you that much.
Well, that's good to put in there.
And then one of the best dressed senior citizens I've ever met, a woman named Jeannie. She lived in Montclair. She didn't drive during the night because she didn't know where the switch was to make her lights come on in her car, but she always found her way to that diner. Every day. As a matter of fact, when she found out they were taking it away, she asked to be strapped to the back of it.
How about that?
No, we've lost her, but yeah, it was.
So how about your coworkers, Helen? Tell us a little bit about some of your coworkers who were there a very long time as well.
Well, there'd be Rosie. She started out there and one of the first waitresses, and she was 80 when she left there.
Wow.
Worked there all that time. You know, she stayed with maybe waiting on one or two tables just so she could just.
It gave her a home.
It was her
and a
home.
sense of purpose.
It was all of our. Yeah, it was our home to all of us.
Yeah.
My daughter grew up there. My youngest daughter.
Wow.
Was her little.
What was the say most difficult thing about being a waitress?
It takes toll on your feet. I suffer problems today with my feet, but that's okay because I slowed down is what it is.
We all do.
And sometimes, you know, if you're not, I always told her, if you have kids and you wait on your children and you can do it, you know, just pretend you're waiting on your family and it's your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did the Valerio Diner, Helen, mean to you? And what did it add to your life?
I don't know exactly who I would be today if everything that I am today, I'm known as that. There's the diner woman. There's Helen.
So it was your sense of identity in the community.
It was, and helped me raise my daughter. Pat all of them. They all worked around me.
Yeah.
If I couldn't find a babysitter, she was a part of that diner. They would let her, you know, take the dishes off the tables. She'd do her homework there, you know, and then it meant a lot to me.
Tell us a little bit about the owners, the Valerios.
Pat was the one I knew the most. He was a big old teddy bear, you know, and everyone loved him and respected him that worked for him. He was from Bridgeport, but he just had a sense of love for Phoenixville that. Well, I'm originally not from Phoenixville. I actually graduated from Coatesville, but this is my home. Phoenixville's my home now. So, like Pat, he found a love for everyone here, and he was the best man to work for. You wanted to go to work and work for Pat.
Now, before we went on camera, you mentioned to me that you had the occasion, maybe a couple of times, to actually save somebody's life who was choking. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
The first one was a dear little lady. Her name was Helen. She was our cashier. She worked there for a very long time. She choked on Raisin Bran cereal. And it seemed like forever that everyone just stood there and didn't know what to do. I got the raisin out of her throat, but she did have to go to the hospital because her ribs were bruised a little. But yeah, and a child choking, I just flipped it upside down, held him by his ankles, and a gentleman who came every day. His name is Ed. I get a Christmas card every year, still thanking me for saving his life.
Wow.
Choking on a little meatball.
Well, that must give you a very heartwarming feeling to know that you've saved some people's lives, and they were able to continue with their lives. How about famous people? Are there any people that came into the diner that you might consider famous in some way? A singer, television person?
Shannon Penn, she was a regular. She singer. We became very good friends. I used to, when she would come in, we'd make her sing for her breakfast. So, yeah. And Susan Richardson, she played a part in 8 is Enough. It was a weekly show on television.
And some double mint guys?
The double mint gum twins, the 2 little old men, the little farmers. And I'm telling you, they picked their toast up at the same time. We would all just stand there staring at them. Yeah.
Wow. Now, I know you have a lot of kind of passion for what the Val Rio was, and you miss the Val Rio, and it's in storage now. But if you had your own way, what would you like to see done with it? And
Well, after I attended the Martin Luther King Memorial opening up the bridge, and after that I went home and I had a dream that night, and I really did, that we leveled out the old Dunkin' Donuts building there on Nut Road and put it there for me. So all I need would be a kitchen so that I could just get them coming and going again.
you still have the passion to be there.
Yes.
Good. Well, I know you brought along some memorabilia, and this is one of the pieces that we have, folks. This is a menu from the Val Rio Diner, as it says, open 24 hours a day. And we're going to show you some of the other memorabilia that Helen brought along for us, and we hope that you enjoy looking at it, and it brings back a lot of memories. Helen, I just want to thank you very much for coming today to give us all this wonderful memories and the memorabilia that you brought. And I'm sure that you touched the hearts of a lot of people in our community who frequented the Val Rio Diner over the years and who are watching the show. So it's a great contribution that you've made to the community, and thank you very much for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
As you can see, Helen and I had a terrific time talking about a beloved piece of hometown history. The Val Rio may have left us, but its stories, memories, and memorabilia will always be a part of the fabric and lore of Phoenixville. Well, that'll about do it for us now, folks. We hope that you enjoyed the show. We'd like to hear your ideas for future editions of the Now You Know, so please contact us through Facebook or email. I'm your host, Lou Beccaria. Thanks for watching, everyone. And now you know. This episode of And Now You Know has been sponsored by Tronex Security Systems.